Welcome to the Empower Hour. I'm Al Kumar,
And I am Hanifa.
and we are your hosts each and every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Zoom via Facebook, where we come to you with impactful topics of discussion that affect our everyday lives. This evening's program is going to be is interesting for some, controversial for others, exciting for others. We have you. We have on the program with us attorney, activist, Pan Africanist, my friend Malik Zulu Shabazz. Greetings.
Like,
Great.
wow, great.
Welcome, brother.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm
And
trying to get straight here.
yep, and we are actually sharing. We're sharing this stream, so give us a second, family, so we can get more participation.
That's right.
I see you guys are coming in already. Thank you for joining us. Share the stream, family. Share the stream. This is sure to be an exciting show. Zulu Warrior always gives it to us real and raw, and he's coming with us to us with his new book, the Book of Khalid.
That's right.
And it just dropped recently, the hottest thing on the market. I see that you selling out bookshelves all over the place. And yeah, so we're looking forward to having this conversation. So give us a quick second and we'll allow you guys to share this stream with all your sphere of influence as well. And let us know where you're chiming in from. Please, where are you in the world? How do you hear about us? Let us know. We appreciate that.
I'm ready.
You ready?
Yes.
Okay, well, let me share. Oh, here we go. Let me share my page.
So how you doing today, brother Malik?
I'm doing just fine. I'm honored to be on. I'm happy to be on because there's a lot going on with the book and with subjects that are in the book that are happening right now. You know, I just come back from Norfolk, Virginia, and working with the Black Power activists, the new Black Panther Party, the original Black Panther Party from Virginia down there in Norfolk. And, you know, the issues of police brutality, of the need for organizing, of the need for self-defense is very heavy in the Black community right now. And, you know, the book teaches a lot, relates a lot to what's happening right now. So I'm burning to be on tonight because, you know, all around the country, there's a lot going on and a lot can be gained from understanding that revolutionary Black man, Khalid Muhammad.
Yes, sir. Now, Zulu Warrior, because we have a mirror, and I affectionately call his attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz, but I call him Zulu Warrior. That's just because that's how I perceive you. Tell the folks who are watching who may not know who you are. What is it? A few things, because just you do a myriad of different things. You know, a few things of what you do and how you come to the community as an activist.
Sisters and brothers, my name again is Malik Zulu Shabazz. And what I am is a committed person to the total liberation of Black people. I was trained and raised at Howard University, and I was baptized in the struggle coming from California. And at Howard University, I was blessed to meet through my grandfather in the Nation of Islam. I was blessed to meet Minister Louis Farrakhan and Khalid Muhammad. And after studying and becoming conscious as a political science student, I then went to the next level of struggle by being an aide and an assistant to Khalid Muhammad and being a key student activist on the front lines of the liberation struggle. I did some rap music, and then I went on to law school, and further organizing at law school, I came to national attention for my defenses of my mentor, Khalid Abdul Muhammad. I graduated law school and founded Black Lawyers for Justice, and I continued in my organizing, but I also have been fighting legal cases and causes such as the Million Youth March court cases for Khalid Muhammad and many other police cases and legal cases. So to conclude what I do in fighting for my people, I fight for them legally. I continue to fight for them as an organizer. I led the Panther Party for 13 years after Khalid Muhammad. My dear brother Hashim Nzinga passed last year, so I'm working with the leadership of the Panthers to keep that going today. I'm doing the best I can to be the all-around freedom fighter and now author that I think I am. I'm into the author realm.
Yes, you have, and you came in the mightiest, forcefulest way possible into the author realm. The Book of Khalid. Why did you decide to write this book?
I owed it to Dr. Khalid. I owed it to him, and I could feel him sometimes from the ancestral realm, asking me, Brother Zulu, when are you gonna get my book out? You done all these other things, but when are you gonna get my things out? And so that's one thing. My duty to him and my conscious communication with him, not being spooky with it, but I feel like I have a vibration with him. And also, so I had to put it out as a moral obligation to those that love him. You love him. Many others love him. They honor him. They deserve to get his complete story, the truth of it, the unedited, the actual facts on what happened to Khalid Muhammad. Okay, so in my journey to get to this point, me being a person that believes in Black unity and a united front, and I really maybe don't want to cause no trouble with nobody, with my brothers and sisters. I had to get to the point where I knew I had to drop Khalid Muhammad's book regardless to what it was, because that obligation was higher than any other obligation. And I feel good about doing that right now.
Okay. Now I'll tell you this, Zulu, you bring with your fire, a lot of controversy. And prior to this program, I received messages, I received phone calls, although, from people who are in the nation. Although I'm not in the nation, you and I both are closely linked in a myriad of different ways to the family of the Nation of Islam. And some of those people are upset with you. I don't know how other way to put it, about this book. And then there's others who praise you for this book. I have yet to read it. I plan to read it. I've heard really good feedback. Actually, our brother, Irritated Genie, the Irritated Genie Southeast, said he got his hands on the book, and he actually purchased the book from another radio program that you did that he was so impressed with, and that it enticed him to buy the book himself. And he has nothing but praise for the book. But I want to address those who, are not so pleased about this particular work. And why? Why do you get so much pushback from some of the members of the Nation of Islam?
It's because I am true to Dr. Khalid Muhammad. Ultimately, when you get to the bottom line to it, I have to be honest with you. I'm very, very true to that man. And the Nation of Islam are my brothers and sisters. I've had many good relations with them. I intend to have good relations, respectful relations with them. I don't stereotype them. They are different. They're not all the same. Mm-hmm. I would urge them to read the book and don't go on hearsay about what somebody said about it, to read it. But moreover, I must reemphasize that I'm true to Dr. Khalid Muhammad. Therefore, to a brother like Irritated Genie, who I know is a sincere lover of Khalid Muhammad, My first obligation is really to the followers of Khalid Muhammad, because they must know that I'm true to him and I'm giving them a true account of his history. Now, Khalid Muhammad was into controversy with the Nation of Islam. Khalid Muhammad had issues when he was ousted from the Nation of Islam. And therefore, I will catch the same flack as my mentor because I am honestly representing him. I'm not fudging on him. I come with no maliciousness to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who, if you read about in this Book of Khalid, that I was raised by him and he was my spiritual father as he was Khalid Muhammad's spiritual father. He is one of the great figures of Black history and eternal history, Minister Louis Farrakhan. I mean no malintent to him. There is no slander here to him. There is no slander here in the Nation of Islam. I continue to say that when those in the Nation of Islam will order this, they will see that their history of the modern resurrection of the rebirth of the Nation of Islam is recorded in great detail like no other has recorded it. Nobody has sat down and wrote and written about what happened when Minister Louis Farrakhan split from Wallace Muhammad and rebuilt the Nation of Islam, and how Khalid Muhammad and others helped to rebuild this and give us this great history that you and I have walked through. That history of Jesse Jackson and Farrakhan and Marion Barry and Khalid Muhammad. So I say, don't go by hearsay. Let's just get the book, and then let's examine what's in the book, because the book is the truth, and the Nation of Islam is taught to accept the truth. This book is backed by 940 footnotes. I have not told a lie in this book, and I have not sought to slander anybody. I stay true to my mentor.
I understand you also had some assistance towards the end of the book from Dr. Khalid's son.
Yes.
Yeah, you want to give us a little bit of insight on that?
Yes. That's my brother. That's my younger brother, and on a certain level, he, going back 20 some odd or 25 years, I'm like his mentor. He respects me, okay? Now, he, as a young teen, when Khalid Muhammad was here, he was like a young teen entrepreneurial whiz. Y'all didn't know about it, but Dr. Khalid and I did, right? So when his dad passed, he went on off to great heights in the publishing world. He's a social media influencer. He has another skill set that kind of unfamiliar to us as Black conscious, red, Black, and green people, right? But all the while, he's my brother. So now we working together on the book. We're here on the book, and he's helping me and cueing me in on many things that I did not know about publishing. He is helping me in ways, and we have great plans to get this book across to the mainstream all over the world. He has helped me. He's helped me develop mental-wise, because he's a great cross-reference. When I say in the book, often, everywhere, I'm quoting Khalid Muhammad. Khalid said this, he said that. His son referenced it. He's telling me, that's right, I recall that. He's great help in that area. I have a great respect for the help he's given me. And I also want to thank Black women who helped put this great book together. I want to thank my editorial director, Sister Renee Brooks, because Renee Brooks, as my chief of staff and as a sister who loves Khalid Muhammad, whenever I needed something, I say, look, I need this on Khalid, that on Khalid. I need this on Wallace Muhammad. Find this, find that. Boom. She goes and gets it. You know what I mean? That helps in this book. So I want to thank her greatly. I also want to thank Dr. Trinity Amoon also, because we knew that the book was going to come under attack. And so with the help of those like Dr. Amoon, we were able to say, look, this is in the Chicago Tribune. This is the Washington Post. This is the New York Times. This is not Malik Zulu Shabazz saying. This is what the Chicago Times said, that Abraham Foxman said, that Louis Farrakhan said, that Khalid Muhammad said, that Giuliani said, that Sean Hannity said, that Tyvis Smiley said, that Alvin Toussaint said. All of these great people had some interaction with Khalid Muhammad, as is written in this book. but I make sure that I put the references there. So don't just take my word for it. Go and look for it yourself. We have, like Khalid Muhammad says, actual facts, truth, proof, and evidence. You can go and find it. Because we know that we're going to come under attack when we deal with this subject.
I know the last time we had you on the Empower Hour, we were in the studio, and this is probably over a year ago, and you had mentioned the book that it was being written. And I know there's a process to writing, and then to write about someone else's life even. During the process of you writing this book, I'm assuming it's some years. What would you say? Did you find some of it difficult to write, and if so, why?
Yes, that's an excellent question. Becoming a writer and to get a book out like this and to then have it all the way edited perfect all the way out, man, that's a hard process. And I learned a lot, and to some extent it's maddening. But on another hand, it's a lifestyle question, right? So I'm an attorney. You know, I have to work also. I have to be a part of the movement, and I have to do what I have to do. Then I have to back up what my big mouth has been saying all along. Well, I'm coming with the Book of Khalid, but the people saying, where is it? You missed this deadline, you missed this deadline, where is it? All the while, you know, as a perfectionist, I'm like, you know, I know that I have to give you the book with every detail I know and the way I know how to give it to you. So, you know, all the while I'm learning that's a little bit more difficult. That's a little bit more difficult than what I'm thinking. And then I have to do like, well, I'm planning on doing it this week and doing it this weekend, but you know, I have my life and a daughter. And so I'm trying to survive and write the book. So to sum it up, when you have to change your lifestyle and go hardcore and write that book, that means I gave up weekends and nights and nothing. I mean, towards the end of the book is no television. I mean, almost like a prison camp. I mean, I had to shut off of everything. Farrakhan Gray is on my back. Y'all are on my back. My conscience is on my back. And then you just got all kind of editing and details. And it's what it is it's a personal struggle of how consistent and and how focused you can be as a person and how you can persevere. So at the end of the day, my queens, what it is it's a personal elevation for me. It's a personal challenge. It's a personal trial to make my word bond. It brought out the best of me. It tortured me on certain days. And all the way even up till today, it's still a process of struggle that has made me a better person. Okay, so that's one, those are the aspects to it. It's just like a personal trial to it. And the other aspect to it in brief is like, it's a conscious thing, right? You know, like they might be mad at me and some might be mad at me in the Nation of Islam, right? But they don't know my road, right? They don't know even how it's difficult for me to write some and recount some of the things that happened between two men that I love. You know, I love and I back Khalid Muhammad, but it's no secret in this book, and it's no secret to the Nation of Islam, that Minister Louis Farrakhan, like Khalid Muhammad says here, is a hero of mine. Okay, and so I'm sitting in the audience here in chapter, I think it's chapter 20, New Black Panther. Louis Farrakhan, Minister Farrakhan, has an issue with Khalid Muhammad and his Million Youth March. I'm in the audience at Howard University. I'm look up to Minister Farrakhan. This is 3 years after the Million Man March. Well, he's laying me out from the rostrum. You know, Minister Louis Farrakhan, I mean, in front of the world on C-SPAN. I mean, he's throwing down on me, Malik Zulu Shabazz, really talking to my mentor. So look, what I'm saying is then I was in the middle of this so-called contradiction. And even today, you have to know my journey, my sister. Minister Farrakhan has played a very special role in my life. Khalid Muhammad obviously plays a key and dominant role in my life. At one point, I had to choose that I was going to walk with Khalid Muhammad, even though I still love Louis Farrakhan. I still respect him as of this day. But I cannot, under no circumstances, retreat from the honest history of Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Now, I have to die on that.
Now, what I don't understand is why it has to be so divisive. I mean, why can't we have disagreements in our community like this and still meet in the middle? I mean, we're never ever going to agree on each and everything that is said, you know. And I know you to be a voice for unity. I actually witnessed your. I drove all the way to Harlem and witnessed your unity march in Harlem. You did like 6-7 years ago, and you brought all the, you know, the top named activists and scholars that were on the scene at that time all together. And I watched how some of them didn't even want to take the stage with others because of whatever reasons. And here we are all fighting on behalf of Black liberation, but we can't even share the same stage at the same time. So for me, that kind of dogism is I don't understand it. I don't understand why they can't have a disagreement with you and still support and back what you do as it relates to Black liberation. So, I mean, I don't know.
It may in fact happen though, because as long as I'm able to articulate not just about the book, but what I intend to talk about tonight, how the book relates to the current struggle. And anybody that's concerned about our struggle will understand that Malik Zulu Shabazz, who is about ending police brutality, who is about stopping the violence in the Black community, who's about raising up the new Black Panther Party, who's about legal training for our people, who's about many things that the Muslims stand for. They know I stand for this today. Then in my book, although there are historical issues that must be wrestled with, we must understand that if we are mature about these issues, they could help us. The Nation of Islam is not perfect. Malik Zulu Shabazz is far from perfect. I do not pretend perfection for Khalid Muhammad. I only say he was great. The book does not pretend perfection for him. Minister Louis Farrakhan is a great man. He's not perfect. Everything that everybody has done is not perfect. So when we study what we call the contradictions, when we study the issues in the book, when we maturely look at them, we can grow. Khalid Muhammad is, he's a constant, I guess, his position in this book is that the Nation of Islam changes its ideology at some point, that it changes its ideology and that he becomes a victim of that. That's one of the themes of the book, you know, that the ideology or the position of the Nation of Islam changes, and this radical, outspoken Khalid Muhammad becomes a victim of that. That's a true thing. That really happened in history.
Well, I want to dig into that a little bit deeper about this change. Yeah. So I've heard you quote Sonetta's one of Sonetta's shows recently that the Nation of Islam changed direction. And I think that was some of the pushback, because some other people in the nation said that that's not necessarily the case. And that Dr. Khalid also admitted himself that that the Nation of Islam did not change direction. Do you want to go into that a little bit more detail for those who are watching?
Yes. In order to address chapter 12 in the book, key chapter, a question we gained from Minister Louis Farrakhan, who asked this question in July of 1993. He asked, has Farrakhan changed direction? We get the question from him. But we must understand what direction the Nation of Islam was going in beforehand.
Mhm.
And all the way beforehand, back to 1930, the Nation of Islam is known as a staunch Black separatist, hardline, Black nationalist type Black Muslim organization. I mean, that's what they're known as. They're known as a hardline Black separatist, Black nation building organization that completely rejects the acceptance of whites and affiliation with whites historically. Then the Nation of Islam changes direction in 1975. It's written here in chapter 3 under Wallace Muhammad, the reign of Wallace. Minister Farrakhan preaches for Wallace for a couple of years. Then Minister Farrakhan is woken back up. He rebuilds the nation. How does he rebuild the nation? He rebuilds it on the rock of Elijah, on the teaching of Elijah and the exaltation of Elijah. And therefore, a glorious history is written in this book between 1978 and 1993. The resurrection of the Nation of Islam is a story that everybody must understand because it teaches you how great organizations are built. It teaches you how Louis Farrakhan and Harold X, Dr. Malik Rushadeen went all over this country and they raised up Black people and they fought issues, and how the Jesse Jackson campaign and Nation of Islam and Louis Farrakhan and Supreme Captain Khalid Muhammad made history. And they made history by being radical. They made history by being strong. They made history, they were known as the defiant group against white people, defiant against whites, defiant against Jews. I mean, when I was a college student, I mean, it was the radical position of the Nation of Islam that attracted Black nationalists. Okay, so to get right to your point, in 1993, in the chapter 12 of the book, we asked the question, has Farrakhan changed direction? And it is true as fact, that when he came out with his book, A Torchlight for America, when he started advocating for all Americans, Black, white, red, and yellow, that when he wrote a book where he was advocating for the betterment of America, as is written here, rather than previously the fall of America, when he was started to argue that white people could be reformed, it could be better, you and Bob could work it out. That's what started happening here, honestly speaking. There's a violin concert that's in the book. There's a photos here in the book. And this is only here because it affected Khalid Muhammad's career. Otherwise, it would not be written. Okay, so in the book here, you see, well, there's hardline revolutionary Minister Louis Farrakhan, who he's playing the violin with a Caucasian white woman in 1993. Okay, people in the Nation of Islam, but they don't even know this history. This group here, I'm coming in 2001. They say, I'm here in 2005. Assalamu alaikum, I'm here in 2010. Assalamu alaikum, I came in after the Million Man March. Look, this is some OG knowledge here. This is what, you can't even be in the Nation of Islam if you don't know your own history. Okay, so Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, was a hardliner, but there was a lot of pressure on the Nation of Islam. There was a lot of pressure from the Anti-Defamation League. They were getting a lot of money from the government. They were getting up to $20 million from the Housing and Urban Development to do anti-crime patrols in the Black community. Well, the whites and the Jews in Congress say, well, hold on, if you're gonna get this money from us, Nation of Islam, you're gonna have to change this racist teaching. You're gonna have to stop this and you're gonna have to stop that if you're gonna get this HUD money. That's actual fact. That ain't got nothing to do with me. Okay?
So are you suggesting that Minister Louis Farrakhan accepted money from the government, and that is why, and at that time he changed his views about being a hardline radical?
Not only he asked for the money first. Let's go to the steps. In the speech, May 2nd or May 4th, 1993, A Torchlight for America. And it is written in his book, A Torchlight for America. He's asking for his piece of the war on drug money from Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton comes out with the crime bill. And he and everybody at this time is trying to fight the crime, crack cocaine wars. The dope busters in Mosque number 4 in Washington, D.C. were successful. And people started lauding the Nation of Islam for its anti-crime efforts. And therefore, Farrakhan found some success in the mainstream with the anti-crime effort where he didn't find it before as a what? As a hardline revolutionary. And anyway, they translated into some big money. And people like Leonard Farrakhan, the chief of staff of the Nation of Islam, and others at the top of the security operations were really becoming successful. And yes, the Nation of Islam was getting up to $20 million from the United States government, housing and urban development. And they was trying to get some more money after that. And so therefore, this radical, loudmouth, anti-white Khalid Muhammad was not going to make it through this process because, and although we laud the Nation of Islam efforts, the legends from Mosque number 4, we still have to ask the question, are the Nation of Islam anti-crime patrols, were they in the past or in the future? Why does it have to be just dependent on government money? You know what I mean? I mean, we love the Muslim patrols. We love the dope busters. But I mean, is it a HUD-sponsored operation only? Because if it is, then the white man is going to control your preaching. So they put that pressure on the Nation of Islam and Louis Farrakhan and Leonard Farrakhan. And so some things changed. And Khalid Muhammad, to conclude, was a hardline Farrakhan zealot. He came to Howard University and he smoked out our dear brother, his later confidant, Steve Coakley. He cracked on everybody.
But isn't it true that is this a quote that I've heard Dr. Khalid say out of his own mouth? He said, Farrakhan is not changing direction, he is directing the change.
Okay.
So isn't that like a direct rebuttal of what you're actually saying?
Oh, and that's such a lovely point, attorney. That is a direct rebuttal. And that was his position. He was a zealous, hardline defender of Louis Farrakhan. Even when, as the book points out, in private, that he would anguish about what the minister was doing. He was so loyal, he went out and kicked everybody's behind until he had to walk that line himself. And so we say here on page 223, because we're talking about this subject, as Khalid Muhammad would later call it, the Old Testament Farrakhan and the New Testament Farrakhan. I say here on 223, it says the dividing line between Old Testament Farrakhan and New Testament Farrakhan had been set. Some favored Old Testament Farrakhan, some favored the New Testament Farrakhan. Either way, Khalid Muhammad was about to run into a freight train head on. What was that freight train? King College. Because when he gave that speech at King College, he got set off a national controversy, and all of these things came to play at once, and the ball dropped on his bald head. And when he got suspended, when he got condemned, then he started to really see that this change in direction was affecting him directly, affecting his life, his future, everything. That the shift in the ideology of that great Black organization, the Nation of Islam, absolutely would have a catastrophic effect on his career in that mighty Black organization, Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
So Malik, I see some questions coming in, and I want to get to one in particular because you're currently on that topic. But I just want to be clear on something, because someone that's just passing through might be like, okay, so this book isn't about exposure. right? It's about telling the truth about your mentor, your friend, because some in the nation or otherwise may be like, so, well, you're trying to paint a picture of the minister Farrakhan in a certain way, but would you have been able to tell Khalid's story without these parts that you are now discussing? Was that even possible?
You think I'm gonna have irritated Gene and all these Khalid Muhammad students tearing me to shreds because I fudged on the truth? I'm not having it, okay? I'm not having it. Number two is the book means different things to many different people. It has a lot of different aspects to it. It is diverse, okay? And some people may not even be into the conflict between Minister Farrakhan and Khalid Muhammad, and they'll just pick up volumes from this book. Let me give you an example. The chapter 1, Birth of a God, deals with the qualities that a young person would develop early that would make him great in life. And as Khalid Muhammad was formerly trained as a student debater and as a leader and a lifeguard, a person can read this book and raise their baby saying, if I want my child to grow up to be a man of consequence like the man in this book, then I can find direction in the chapter 1, Birth of a Black God. Chapter 2 talks about the Nation of Islam. Harold X, this man who joined the nation, the importance and the value of the nation, the importance and the value of Elijah Muhammad, who's normally ripped to shreds by scholars. Well, he gets a good defense here. And every Muslim gets to know really what Elijah teaches and really what his program is about and really how successful his economic and reform program was. Okay, so that's valuable just in and of itself. Wallace Muhammad is a chapter 3, that teaches you about what? Compromise. It teaches you about deviation. It teaches you about the FBI plans to implant and destroy our organization. So that's critical and important. The chapter on Wallace Muhammad teaches you about Uncle Tom and the catastrophic effects of Uncle Tom and in the name of Islam. I mean, that's valuable. Okay, let me just run a few for a minute. I won't do it all, but let's say chapter 4, the nation is back. How do you resurrect the organization that died? Who is this great recruiter, Harold X, and like a Jehovah's Witness, who's a professor, who's an activist, who's a revolutionary out here in California, who's raising up a FOI army, who's an Afrocentric thinker and scholar, student of Maulana Karenga and Dr. Clark and all of this. So this is all understanding to a person now where you can gain inspiration. If you're an organizing builder and nation builder, you want to know how Farrakhan and Khalid Muhammad rebuilt the nation if you're an organizer. Al Kamar, I see you all the time trying to figure out strategies for our people. Well, read chapter 4, sister, because these men built something that is a great model for us today. Chapter 5, National Spokesman, talks about the characteristics and qualities of a great speaker, argues that Khalid Muhammad is the greatest speaker, one of the great speakers of all time. Well, articulation, oratory, that's a subject in and of itself. Next chapter, 100 FBI agents. Well, it talks all about Judas and the Black Messiah type topics. It talks about how, just like you saw the Judas in the Black Messiah movie, Khalid Muhammad had Judas suit and bow tie wearing, wire for the FBI wearing, bootlicking Uncle Tom's, wearing wires, Nation of Islam Muslims with him when he was in Atlanta, Georgia, and they reported everything he did and wired everything he did to the FBI. And Khalid Muhammad went to jail. Okay, so this book, my dear sister, can't be all flowery for Khalid Muhammad. Well, Khalid Muhammad went to jail. I can't fudge on that either. Okay, but the FBI was after him. And why were they after him? There's a lot of intrigue in that. My last point here, chapter 7, student warrior, the student activist, the young revolutionary. You will read about the Malik Zulu Shabazz and Howard University and how he meets Khalid Muhammad and how he takes on the Jews for Louis Farrakhan at the University of Maryland. And you'll read about the young revolutionary Malik Zulu Shabazz, and the young student of today is going to gain inspiration from that. Chapter 8, New York roller coaster. We learn about jealousy and envy. when you got a talented Malcolm X type man. Chapter 9, Public Enemy. You learn about rap and culture and why Khalid Muhammad was so important and why revolution is so important in rap. So my dear sister, if you don't even want to touch the subject, if you don't even get to the subject of the conflict between Khalid Muhammad and Louis Farrakhan, you will gain so much else in this book that you still got to have it.
Thank
know
you
what
for
I mean?
saying that.
You got to have it.
Thank you for
How
saying
any Black Muslim and Black conscious person can't have it, to be honest. Because I mean, it's got the jewels in it.
I want to go to some of the questions, Brother Malik. I have two questions. Well, one is asking if you were able to sit down and talk to Minister Louis Farrakhan in the process of writing the book. That was one. And there was another.
Let me answer that for you, because that's a heavy question. And I was asked that question. And I had to make a decision as an author whether I would go to Minister Louis Farrakhan with the book. To some say, well, you should go get Minister Farrakhan's approval for the book. Others said that you should let him see a copy, brother. You should send a copy to the minister and let him review it before you put it out. Others would ask that you interview him about this subject. And after a well thought out decision-making process, I decided that I would not interview the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan about this book out of the reason of objectivity and fairness to the presentation of the subject matter. As an attorney, when we know that there is a dispute here, let's not duck it. There is a dispute here between these two men historically. And so Khalid Abdul Muhammad has gone on to the realm of the ancestors. He cannot come back and be interviewed to amend his statement. He can't come back and clarify anything. He can't give one more word to this subject matter. What was written up to his passing, February 17th, 2001, is set. And so I had to make a decision in fairness to say that whatever Minister Louis Farrakhan has said on record on this subject will be the set record. I would not be able to give him a chance to come and amend or explain away, lest I would be unfair to my mentor on the procedural matter. Okay, many will disagree with me on that, but that's a decision as a man I have to make. Minister Farrakhan has spoken out on this subject. He's covered this subject clearly. He's spoken and said what he had to say. Khalid Muhammad said what he had to say. Let the record stand.
Okay.
The record stand as it is.
Okay. The second question is, do you believe that what you spoke about a little earlier, do you believe that the minister did what he did as far as change direction as a strategy? Because the person say your book doesn't take a stand saying that Farrakhan actually changed direction or that he pretended to change direction. Which do you personally believe?
And that's Elijah Miles, by the way.
Yeah, Elijah Miles, sorry.
I think I'm firm here that the Nation of Islam had moderated in the year of 1993. I spend careful detail on chapter 12. Chapter 12 almost is an extensive chapter. It's called Has Farrakhan Changed Direction? And it covers the Nation of Islam's security contracts, that there was millions of dollars coming and pressure to change this radical teaching in order to keep getting this housing and urban development money.
Now let me, I want you to finish, but I want you to answer, please, where is the evidence of this information stemming from?
Right here, it stems from right here in the footnotes from page 208. There's a subject in chapter 12, 208 called NOI security contracts. And I give you the Baltimore Sun, the Washington Post, and everywhere where it tells you I mean, NOI security was big. There wasn't no pretense about that.
I mean, is it saying that that is the reason for him changing the direction of?
Connect the dots. That's why let me finish. So there's the security contract matter. And then, okay, you have this, man. This is for intelligent people to understand. Minister Farrakhan came to the J.W. Marriott and gave a warning to the United States government and said that his vision in 1985 of being taken up on the wheel was to say that George Bush had planned to commit genocide on Black people through the war on drugs. And he was here in Washington to warn the people and warn the government, because his interpretation of his vision was that the war on drugs was a war to destroy Black people. Okay, now in the Torchlight for America, written by the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, he then changes and says that it's $12 billion being spent by Bill Clinton in his version, crime bill of the war on drugs, but he says directly that he wants some of that money. Now let's go right here. That's a change in direction. One says that you're trying to kill us with the war on drugs. The other one says, let me get a piece of it. Now so you will say, I'm not just talking, let me quote to you what I say, because this is for scientists. I will not engage in, especially with a man that's this important, I have to be scientific. Now so let's do this. Now, Lewis, let me give you this. Torchlight for America News Conference. Okay, now we know Louis Farrakhan as a Black uniter, as a man that calls for a Black African united front, and he unites the oppressed against white supremacy. That's Old Testament Honorable Louis Farrakhan. Well, May 1993 at the National Press Club, as quoted here, and it's on C-SPAN, it says he's calling now for the convening of all races. He said, I would like to call for the convening of a spiritual leadership of this nation to spearhead a moral rejuvenation amongst the American people, brothers and sisters, representatives of all races, all faiths should be brought to Washington to hold conferences with President Bill Clinton and government leaders towards the aim of developing programs for building the values and the moral backbone of America and for building better race relations. Louis Farrakhan. I say after that, Louis Farrakhan, the American racial and religious healer. Indeed, this was a new Farrakhan on this day, not the man the press was expecting. Now you hold 1 second here, let's go right to the contracts. We go right here to, when you say, we pointed out that Farrakhan played the violin. Well, you don't, Minister Farrakhan is a great violinist, brother, you misinterpreted that. The minister didn't do that to appease the Jews, brother, you're wrong. No, you wrong, brother. Because on that day, footnote number 441 from the Chicago Sun-Times says, in his own words, Farrakhan said, as he played Mendelssohn, a Jewish white violinist, he said, quote, in his own words, Farrakhan said he was hoping to undo with music what words had done, and that words can be used to make mischief as well as to create peace, and said directly that the concert was an effort to reach out to heal wounds with American Jews. He was kicking the Jews behind before, but he was trying to maneuver his strategy, and he played the violin and tried to tone it down. That's an actual fact. Now, let's go to the contract. Right here, let's go right here to the contract, and then we'll conclude in the same chapter of how the famous teaching, most famous teaching that the Nation of Islam ever put out, all the way back to Fard and Elijah. What's their most famous teaching, Sister Al-Kamar? What's their most famous teaching of the Nation of Islam?
What, the famous teachings?
Their most famous teaching from the nation. What's the most famous teaching from the nation?
The black man's God, the white man's the devil?
Okay, I would say it's number 2. Right? Of all of their teachings, we would agree worldwide that their most controversial teaching is that the white people are devils, right? Okay, well, that was banned in 1993. I document how that was banned from this Nation of Islam in 1993, and they were forbid from saying it. Now, if any one of them can refute that, they won't. Even to this day, this Nation of Islam right in front of you that will be trying to contend with me, they know that I know that they have been prohibited from teaching the white man is the devil. There's not one Muslim under the Honorable Louis Farrakhan that will argue with me that he has forbid them from calling the white man the devil. They know that, and they know I know that. Now, the NOI security contracts. This says, and this is not that. What's the point of all this, Shabazz? It's so we don't do this no more in history. History is best qualified to reward our research. If we know what happened yesterday, it won't happen tomorrow. I'm only pointing this out so in the future, we can see what happened and we can avoid certain things if we can just learn the lessons. Now look at this. On these security contracts, I quote from the Torchlight for America, footnote number 433, Torchlight from America. It says here, from 1991, NOI of, wait, hold on, let's go back. The book, I'm sorry, strike that. Let me back it up here to the book. I gotta say something about the book. It's in the book here. Here it is. I'm sorry. This is Minister Farrakhan's own words. It's footnote 428. I quote you from the book, his book, A Torchlight for America. He says here, ridding Mayfair mansions in Washington, D.C. of dope traffic and rehabilitating the addicts is a success story of the Nation of Islam at no cost to the country. We have a dope busters program that have been very successful and applauded by the communities in which the dope busters or Nation of Islam security are present. How is it that with nothing, we can do what the government has not been able to do with $12 billion? We are an example for America. If America sincerely wants to rid the society of the scourge of drugs, it should let us, the Nation of Islam, help. It only makes sense to follow what works and fund what works. It says here, he says, and fund what works. The Dope Busters program, if properly funded, could help to rid the nation of drug traffic and addiction. We, the Nation of Islam, have a proven record. Since America is unable to curb addiction, it should let us rehabilitate our own. We are getting the results. Why should America back us? The government can help us by patrolling the borders and keeping drugs out of the country, but let us help in handling the streets. It's in America's own self-interest. And I say here, without a doubt, in Torchlight for America, Farrakhan was seeking some major millions out of that 12 millions that was being spent on that war on drugs. I mean, that's just a fact. I'm not saying he had bad intentions.
Right.
I'm not saying he didn't want to help the brothers and sisters that suffered in the Black community. But we are saying, like Dr. Farrakhan says to me, he says, yeah, but if you're getting that government money, they're going to call your Black conscious tune. And that's part of the story of what happened to Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Khalid Muhammad was bad for business. That's just bottom line to it. In that sense.
Well, let me ask this though. Wouldn't that, I'm hearing that. Wouldn't, okay, the rallying cry today is the call for reparations. Isn't that monies we're asking the government to give us to help boost our own to help with the issues that we have in our community? So how different is what you're saying to the rallying call today for reparations. Should we not be asking for reparations?
A lot different. Reparations is a pure compensation that comes with no restrictions on your free speech or your rights to organize or your rights of self-determination. Reparations is when you give me my land, you give me my money, and you back up off me. I can continue to say what I want and do what I want. You owe me. That's different than a contract or a contact or a deal. Because if that's the case, in every settlement that Jesse Jackson got from Wall Street or Walmart, he would say, well, keep hope alive. It's reparations. And Jesse went and got his money and cut his deal, and he did the hell what he wanted with it. That wasn't decided by a collective body of people like reparations. When we get reparations, no one group or one man will decide the rules of the money and how it goes. It will be a collective process of leadership. No, this here is different. This is some individual deals that businessmen, such as William Muhammad, one of the great captains in the Nation of Islam, and businessman, I won't say he's a great businessman, but he's a businessman, wannabe businessman, Leonard Farrakhan. He's trying to get some big money off of it. Now, there were some brothers that benefited. One of the upsides of it was that there were some brothers who got jobs. And what we can learn about this in the future is, see, the future question for the Nation of Islam is the greatness that you displayed as the dope busters, is it only because you can get a grant from HUD? Or could you do that on some other model based on Elijah's program where your organization or your people could fund it and you still could go out there and patrol the streets?
Was the dope busters getting paid for what they did?
On the streets, but if it's controlled by the government, then it's just like it's just going to be the guardian angels in suit and bow ties.
Was the dope busters getting paid of salary?
Oh yeah, they started out getting paid. It was like $1 million contracts. They started off by getting HUD contracts at Mayfair.
So the money they received from the government went directly to the pockets of the brothers on the street that were doing the work. Well,
first it went to the captains. The captains, such as Brother Akil, Brother Rodney, Captain William is the genius behind the early form of that. See, they were the ones that first were getting it. And we say in the book, Khalid Muhammad was not mad with them, right? Before it all broke off, we believed that brothers needed to come up and get their own. So the captains was getting paid. Then later on, Leonard Farrakhan, who was quite different from a captain or a soldier, he started New Life Security and he became in control of it. And I mean, the bottom line to it is that,
well, just in my personal
bottom line to it is we're not mad with. There's nothing wrong with them getting paid. There's nothing wrong with a brother getting a security job. But the point of the book is that if the government is financing it, there's going to be certain consequences. This is why Congress denounces Khalid Muhammad. Congress denounces Khalid Muhammad. Newt Gingrich, Joe Biden, Bob Dole, the head of the Black Caucus. Why do they all of a sudden jump on Khalid Muhammad and Farrakhan? They jump on them in this instance because the Nation of Islam was offered in the year of 1993 a sacred covenant with the Congressional Black Caucus, a deal. Congressional Black Caucus, Nation of Islam, NAACP, they was gonna all work together. And therefore, it appeared that all of these contracts were secure. That not only that Farrakhan, whatever he had done, that it looked like he was directing change, as you said, because at the end of the day, he had him a deal with the Congressional Black Caucus. He had his affiliates, groups had contracts, and he was rolling, But what happened was Khalid Muhammad spoke at King College. They said, no, this group that's getting that money, that HUD money, and got this big deal with the Congressional Caucus, this group, the Nation of Islam, well, this is their spokesman, Khalid Muhammad. And although Farrakhan has played this violin and he's given a Torchlight for America speech and book, he says that he's moving to the mainstream. or they say the Nation of Islam is moving to the mainstream. But here's Khalid Muhammad at King College. They have not. This is the real Nation of Islam. And so Khalid Muhammad is put before the world. His words are put before the world. His speech is put before the world. And the gauntlet is put. The gauntlet is laid down. Now look, either you suspend and denounce and you ice Khalid Abdul Muhammad, or all of these contracts is off the books. The whole relationship with the Congressional Black Caucus is off the books.
Well, let me
All of that is off the books.
let me say,
That's how
yes,
I see
as
it.
being, okay, let me just say this, and I'm speaking on my own accord here, just being, hearing different things, living in Washington, D.C. when the Dope Busters was at Mayfair Mansion, and how they successfully cleaned up that community, where it went from, crime galore to next to no crime at all, because of what the Nation of Islam, the brothers in the nation, were able to do at that time. Right. And so I'm looking at the overarching results of what took place at that time. And they were successful in their mission. Now, I don't know, what you're sharing with us about the whole money ramification, all that I don't know, but it's clear and evident to me that what they did was effective, and they brought change to that community. And I would even suffice to say that they saved a lot of lives at that time for doing what they did. So I just want to put that out there, because I don't know all the other things about the whole incident. But could it possibly be that Zulu Warrior? Could it possibly be that there was a lot of decisions and things going on at the top that you may not have had privy of the information? And so we're looking on the outside, looking in and saying it coulda, shoulda, woulda, it shoulda went down this way, but you don't understand how things work and the decisions that have to go on that you and I aren't privy to.
Before you answer that, I just need to say, Brother Malik Alkama, before you answer that, like, this is churches, this is any organization that whether it's tax exempt, anytime the government is involved, there are things to be followed. Like, I don't care who you are. And I think that even if you're in the Nation of Islam, if there's any involvement with the government, there's a level of filtering, right? There's a level of like censorship of some sort.
But it was Marion Barry. It was Marion Barry who solidified that deal, correct though?
Well, no, Marion Barry was the enemy of the Dope Busters. I got to tell you, I tell it in the book. Now let me say this to you. Those brothers at Muhammad's Mosque number 4 and the Dope Busters, I write positively of. Those are my brothers. I mean, the work that they did in Washington, D.C. is legendary. But when you look at the history of what happened, there are ramifications for that government money, and there are ramifications for those deals. And these are lessons in history that we must learn, lest we walk down that road again. The Nation of Islam's fundamental position since the coming of Master Fard Muhammad and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is that the United States government is doomed for destruction, and the Nation of Islam theologically, fundamentally is anti-American. That's their position. A leopard cannot change its spots. And so you can't make the nation something different than what it is and call it the nation, lest we refer back to the lessons and to the teachings. Now, with the lesson that we learn in history with this is that we want our communities cleaned up, but we don't want the government to control them, so we fund the Dope Busters ourselves. There's whatever the budget was, I think the budget over there was $2 million, at one point something million a year at Mayfair to run the security operation. Well, I've seen the Nation of Islam raise 4, 5, 10 million for Savior's Days. I mean, we love them, but I've seen them, but the days when I was at Mosque number 4 here, the Savior's Day gift was a fur coat for this one and a Rolls Royce for that one. And I'm just saying, on the real tip, we can shoot, you got GoFundMe and all of that. I mean, the Nation of Islam is respected by Black people. If they really were serious about getting out here and securing this community and getting out here, they probably could raise an easy $100, $200 million a year and get money from foreign governments and tell the white man, kiss my behind, I will say what I want and do what I want. I'm over here doing it voluntarily at Mayfair. My people paid the money. So it's some lessons here. I ain't just talking stuff here. There are lessons. Don't take that government money as a Black revolutionary organization. They'll be trying to tell you what you can say. They'll be telling you to fire your main man and trying to run you. And at the end of the day, the white man still took the money from the Nation of Islam.
So
If I can, how come I can
have one question. Is it safe that you don't have any government contracts right now?
The new Black Panther Party for Self-Defense does not have one government contract, okay? And it does not have one government contract.
I just have a question. If I could,
either Zulu Warrior.
And what now?
You outside of the new Black Panther Party, you don't have any government contracts currently?
You talking about as an individual?
Or any of your organizations?
None of my organizations. No, it's not good. Your political organization, you can't have contracts like that. It will always end in a conflict. Individuals, it's different. Now, I believe that the Nation of Islam as individuals could do a lot more with certain contracts as individuals. That's a whole nother subject.
Do you as an individual have any government contracts right now?
Just let me just say this. No, not directly, but let me just say this.
Not directly? Indirectly. I mean, I'm just trying to get to the point.
Be direct. Let me just say something about direct. The position of the new Black Panther Party actually is that the state and government taxes that are paid by this government are actually owed to build intercommunal housing, whatever the Black Panther Party program owes. So the taxes that's paid by Black people into the DC government, well, what's wrong with Malik Farrakhan, ceasefire, don't smoke the brothers? It used to be peaceaholics. All of that's owed to our people. All that's owed to our people. But still, what I'm trying to tell you is when that happens, it'd be a price to it.
What's the difference though, brother? You just got finished tearing down government contracts for the nation, but it's okay when other organizations do it?
And look, I'm saying that when it's done, there's a price. I said that Khalid Muhammad met his exit due to this high-level relationship. This is official relationship between a Black liberation organization and the United States government. That's much, much different than an individual like Jahar or Ronald Moulton or Malik Farrakhan, who's doing social services in the Black community. And they're not political revolutionaries either. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the bottom line to it is, whatever you're doing, you got to maintain a hard line. You know what I mean? Look, I got judges, right? Look, I do what I do. I run in a militant movement. I might have a case before a judge. I might have anything to do this or that, considerations in my life. Bottom line to it is, you're not going to catch me. Whatever you're going to do, you're going to look at me and you're going to say his line is consistent. The Zulu Shabazz position is consistent. He ain't changing. So the proof is in the pudding. You know, if you can get that government deal and you still kick the white man's behind, I just want to see you kicking the white man's behind. I want to see you maintaining a hard line.
But that's a little bit of backtracking, though, in my opinion, beloved. That's a little bit of backtracking from what you just described as a hardline position, that we can't take no funds for no particular reason. And now you're saying it's okay.
I would be honest as a community organizer, because that means that all the anti-violence groups, the human services group, that means no Black people could ever contract with the district government to provide valuable services. But they wouldn't be political groups. See, they're service groups, they're medical groups. There's a difference when you're talking about a political group. Now, if the new Black Panther Party said, I'm cutting a deal with the Department of Human Services, then some shit gonna happen. That's gonna be a problem. You know, if Al Kamar says, I'm gonna build a shelter for battered Black women, and the District of Columbia gonna give me $2 million to build the facilities and help me with my equipment and all of that. We finna help you get that because they owe you that. You pay taxes, housing taxes, payroll taxes. I mean, so it's a nuanced situation. But bottom line to it is, whatever we say, we're talking about specifically here the effect of the dope busters, Nation of Islam, housing, urban development on the subject of Khalid Muhammad's career. As much as we like what the dope busters did, that did not pretend favorably from a revolutionary Khalid Muhammad's career. That's just how it turned out.
Okay, we can move on from that.
Okay, can I shift the conversation a little bit? Is that okay? Because I know in the beginning, Brother Malik, you made it very clear that the book is, because I don't want to make the whole entire program about a versus thing, because I know the book offers so much more than that, which you stated in the beginning. So I wanna, because I know we're out of time, so I want to let you get into that. What are some of the things that you discuss about Khalid in your book that we are still dealing with as Black people, as a collective in America right now? I know you mentioned police brutality. What are some of the others that people could look forward to reading about in the book versus just what happened between Khalid Muhammad and Louis Farrakhan?
Because again, that's just one part of the book. You mentioned reparations earlier.
Yes.
Those that are into reparations, you will consistently read about Khalid Muhammad's advocacy for reparations and the struggle he went through at critical times, such as the time of the Million Man March and the Million Youth March in New York City. And you will learn how just of a strong of an advocate for reparations he was, and how he held the flame in his era, which hopefully will inspire others to hold up the torch for reparations in this era, even when it don't seem popular. Nobody wants to deal with it. That's one thing we learn about in the book. We learn here about, we learn interesting things here about Khalid Muhammad's direct struggle with Mayor Rudolph Giuliani in New York in the clash over the Million Youth March. Rudolph Giuliani is a very popular figure. He appears to be the tough guy. But look, I walk with a man and I recount how the man that I walk with, Khalid Muhammad, backed Rudy Giuliani down and went toe-to-toe with Rudy Giuliani. So that's a very interesting thing that our people will find out about the Million Youth March. We see a lot of Black gun groups. We see a lot of self-defense groups. We see militias sprouting up all over America. But what's the origin of that in this modern time? Where does that come from? A lot of that, a great portion of that credit goes to the father of the modern day armed movement, and that is Khalid Abdul Muhammad and his radical actions in Jasper, Texas, as he fired up this nation. So you have the origins of the new Black Panther Party. You have the militant Khalid Abdul Muhammad. You see what happens that Khalid Muhammad lands on his feet. It appears that he's counted out, but the story is not one of him constantly bewailing his condition. He lands on his feet and he's a constant revolutionary at all times in the Nation of Islam or not. So you become like a determined person. You think Khalid is a bounce back specialist. At every point in his career, this man has remarkable human determination that will give others human determination who will read this story. Okay, Khalid Muhammad is shot down like a dog in this book. Khalid Muhammad is shot by a Nation of Islam affiliate named James X. Bess. And Khalid Muhammad receives death threats from inside the Nation of Islam, from the top officials up to the national spokesman. So we deal with, some Malcolm X type stuff, and how Khalid Muhammad dealt with being shot by a Black Muslim named James X. And it appeared to be that a conspiracy had developed inside the nation to kill him, and he was shot. How did that happen? Well, and how did he bounce back from that? I mean, man, people just want to read that chapter alone. Howard University in there. You want to know about me? You don't want to know about how I handled all this, about how they threatened to throw me out. You want to ask about me, Al Kamar? It talks about how I was threatened. They say I cost Howard University $30 million. You're not going to become a lawyer. You are going to be kicked out of here, Malik Zulu Shabazz. All of that, which is lessons to the future student organizers, is here.
And now I know we running out of time. I want to get to the Million Youth March, because that's a big part of the history. Was Dr. Khalid still connected to the Nation of Islam during the Million Youth March?
Oh, the Khalid Muhammad convened and called for the Million Youth March in New York, September 5th, 1998. That was that infamous Million Youth March that ended with that big fight and brawl between us and the New York police, where 17 police went to the hospital and a few of ours, and it was that was one of the serious rumbles between.
Right. Where did the money come from to put on that march?
And we was straight up hardcore. Well, at the end of the day, Master P chipped in. We was riding on 3 wheels until Master P at the last second sent a fat check for the sound system and all of that.
Did Minister Farrakhan add to that? Did Minister Farrakhan give you guys money for that march?
No, at the Million Youth March was not supported by the Nation of Islam.
No, you didn't receive. You guys didn't receive $5,000 from Minister Farrakhan in support of that march.
You're talking about the Million Youth March anniversary. That was in 2013. That's the one you came to in New York. But the original Million Youth.
Oh, Minister Farrakhan gave you $5,000 towards that.
Yes, I was
okay.
Directly to. I know you want to get that in.
No, I just want to set the record straight. That's all.
Come on. Minister Farrakhan personally has been a nice man to me. Okay. He has let me come right to you. I'm gonna come right to you. Let me come right to you. He did give us $5,000 for the Million Youth March anniversary. But the original Million Youth March in 1998, the Nation of Islam, they actually opposed it. They made another one called the Million Youth March Atlanta, and it was backed by the Nation of Islam and Jesse Jackson and all the civil rights leaders, and they aimed to squash Khalid Muhammad's Million Youth March. And ultimately, this book talks about how Khalid Muhammad outmaneuvered them, and his march succeeded. Even though it was controversial with a big fight with the police, it also talks about how Minister Farrakhan, who has been nice to me, did go to that rostrum at Howard University, and he blessed my behind out, talking about Khalid Muhammad because he was angry at Khalid Muhammad for having that march. Okay, then sometime later, he did give us $5,000 because there was a period of rapprochement between me and really the new Black Panther Party in the nation.
So the minister didn't endorse the youth march in '98?
No, they opposed it. They officially opposed it and did all they could to stop Khalid's march from succeeding, and it did not work. Khalid Muhammad overcame Giuliani, the government, the FBI, and the opposition of the Nation of Islam. That was one of the greatest years of my life. We beat the New York City in federal court as lawyers. We beat them in the Court of Appeals. I mean, that's something that y'all gotta learn about. Khalid Muhammad, look, Khalid Muhammad is the man. All right, that's what we need to understand, sister. Now you can be caught in between this or not.
Brother Malik, Brother Malik. Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question, please?
Yes.
Can you tell us, since you were there, you were present, this is your mentor that you're talking about. Can you tell us one of the best things about Brother Khalid that we could use, that you think was one of the most powerful things about him that we could use more of today?
Okay, that's good. And I want to say this. I don't want to let this slip by. Sister Al-Kamar said, well, isn't this just somebody saying, speculating, or analyzing it? No, my sister, this is from the inside.
Yeah, because I thought he endorsed the march in the final call, though. That's public record.
Oh, in the final call, it's very it's some science in that final call stuff. And the final call, it accuses Khalid Muhammad of being arrogant and having self-aggrandizement. You can't even see through it. We read it word for word. It accuses him of being arrogant, self-aggrandizing. That's the same thing that Minister Farrakhan said to me at Howard University after the march. Okay, so that's their opinion. Their line on Khalid was that he's arrogant and self-seeking, but yet before that they said, we ain't got no work for you. We don't want you. You're bad news. You're too black. But then when he goes for on his own, all of a sudden it's a problem. But that's something different. So I tell you this, sister, my information come from Khalid Muhammad, directly from being with him, riding with him, sleeping with him, being his right-hand man, being the man that when he's angry, he chastises. And that's inside from his mouth. And that's as inside as you can get. And so this book has thousands of quotes from Khalid Muhammad. Every few minutes, a quotation on something Muhammad said. Now, he's extremely dedicated, my sister. That's what you got to understand. The things you want to know about Khalid Muhammad is, first of all, I mean, this is one thing you think, right? He's a smooth guy, right? Also, right? Just as black women, he's a hard and right? But y'all as sisters, right? Honestly speaking, you would dig him, right? Because you would dig him because he's handsome, he's attractive, he's knowledgeable. I say in the book, he sometimes was considered a sex symbol. So, I mean, honestly speaking, I mean, this Khalid Muhammad was a very handsome and attractive black man. And when he was into romance, he was doing it extra with the roses and all of that. So he was like, he took detail to everything, all the way down to the pillow. It was revolutionary for him in the bedroom, okay? And those are his words, not mine. His words, okay? So he has humor. He's fun. You know what I mean? He's cool to hang out with. On one hand, he's strict and hard, but on another hand, he's the man you want to hang out with. You know what I mean? He's the man you want to feel more comfortable with. That's why he's on rap albums, things like that. He's got rhythm. He's got life. Man, don't make an error. Don't make an error, because you finna get chastised. And so y'all think Malik Zulu is so big and so bad. But some of my people, they would like you. You would like to have seen the days when Khalid Muhammad was drilling on me, whooping on me about my shirt sleeve not being long enough. Or this wasn't right, or that wasn't right. I mean, and big bad Malik Zulu getting chastised by his captain. You know, y'all would probably have taken some humor in that. So as we conclude, what I want to say is today, I would like y'all to go to thebookofkhalid.com and get the book. Go to thebookofkhalid.com or go to Amazon and get the book for yourself. Get the electronic version, please. Get the book, thebookofkhalid.com. I want you to also support the program of Black Lawyers for Justice. That's at blackrightsmatter.org. Black Lawyers for Justice, blackrightsmatter.org. I'm going all over the country doing trainings on police brutality, and I'm continuing to fight the legal cases, and that's at blackrightsmatter.org. Lastly, but not least, the new Black Panther Party and the Black Power Movement. We can be found at blackpanthermovement.com and blackpanthermovement.org. But what is the Black Panther and Black Power Movement.org doing? Black Lawyers for Justice and the Black Panther Party, the new Black Panther Party, and the Black Power Movement. All over the country, I'm touring for the books. And I'm organizing a book tour in the cities I'm going to close with. And the Panther Party is organizing in the community. You're going to see them everywhere in cities, everywhere, under the direction of myself and Imam Akbar Bilal and the Central Committee, organizing to stop the violence, currently organizing for Black political power, organizing for Black economic power, organizing for a united Black front, organizing to stand up Black men, organizing to end police brutality, organizing to educate our people on the law, and organizing for self-defense. That's at blackpanthermovement.org. Can I say where I'm gonna be before I close?
Yes, please.
These are book signings and community walks, as well as unite sessions in every city and region to build Black united fronts. We're trying to build Black or African united fronts in the spirit of Khalid Muhammad wherever we go. At the same time, doing book signings and community walks, going door to door. And these are the cities on February 20th in Columbus, Ohio. New Black Panther Party is on the ground in Columbus, Ohio, for a Black community walk. On March 13th, we're going to be in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I will be in Minneapolis, Minnesota, pardon me, for the opening of the George Floyd trial in Minnesota, and there's going to be a mass legal training, a book signing, a mass legal training, and a mass march for Black Power in Minneapolis, Minnesota on March 13th. Also, the same weekend, New Black Panthers are training defense military training in North Carolina on 3/13. On 3/14, I'm with my brothers in Reality Speaks in Baltimore, Maryland on March 14th, Brother Jabari and the great students of Khalid Muhammad and Reality Speaks for a book signing. On March 20th, I'm back in Norfolk, Virginia for a book signing, as well as another mass Black community walk and legal training with the Panther Party and Black Lawyers for Justice, door to door in Norfolk, as we build a united front. March 21st, Charlotte, North Carolina, same thing. April 3rd, a book signing right here in Washington, D.C. I think that's going to be at the April at the Haile Jerima's place on Georgia Avenue, Sankofa Bookstore on March 3rd. March 4th, it's going to be a mass march and legal training right in Washington, D.C. And this mass march in D.C. and Southeast is going to be to stop the violence, to oppose gentrification, and to end police brutality and for self-defense.
Do you have a place where they can get all this information?
Get all of this right now. Just go to my Facebook page at Malik Zulu Shabazz. My chief of staff, Renee, is going to make sure this is posted on Black Lawyers for Justice at blackrightsmatter.org and at blackpanthermovement.com. It's also on my Facebook page. And just quickly, April 16th, Atlanta. April 17th, same thing in Tallahassee and Jacksonville. April 18th, I'm in Tampa, Florida and St. Petersburg. May 22nd, May 23rd, book signings in the streets in Harlem and Brooklyn. And what I'm saying is, sister, I'm getting ready to go all over the country with the book. I'm rolling with the legal program, and I'm rolling with this Black Power program to continue the legacy of Khalid Muhammad, and I'm going to give it all I got.
Actually, let me say this. First of all, shout out to Renee for all the strong sisters that back you and help you do what you do. I've worked with her before in the past, and she is a powerhouse. Let me ask this, because I'm reading the stream a little, and I see where, people take sides in situations like this. And I really hate that it has to come to this, and they're calling, silly names, and you know what I'm saying, silly childish names to our leaders and things like that. Whether it be you, Zulu Warrior, Minister Farrakhan, I'm going to defend you both for what you do, because I know you both are stand-up men and you love your people and you work on behalf of your people. So I just wish that we could get to a more mature place, to where we could have these type of conversations without name calling and bashing one another and furthering dividing each other. So now we're not getting closer. We're getting further divided because of all these divisions. So let me ask this: if in your tour for in your United Front tour, if Minister Farrakhan asked that you come and link arms together and you guys work together, would you be willing to do that?
As a Black organization leader, I have a duty to discuss or sit down in a diplomatic forum with any Black leader. though I've been down this road with him before, though. And we have attempted to have a united front. Maybe that ran its course, but of course, I would have to say that I would be willing to sit down with the Nation of Islam. Let me be clear about my intentions. We want a strong Nation of Islam. We must have a strong Nation of Islam. Matter of fact, we demand a strong Nation of Islam in the tradition of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Malik Zulu Shabazz wants to see that happen. We want to see this thing continue on into the future and continue strong. Minister Louis Farrakhan has done a great work. He's 87 years old. So I have a vested interest in seeing the Nation of Islam be strong and continue to be strong. I'm not here just to and my book does not engage in silly talk or slander or name calling. It's a book of science. It's a book of science. Even though it may be things people disagree with me on, but I'm not disrespectful in my book. See, Minister Farrakhan is my elder. I'm not disrespectful of him, even if I dissent from some things he said or have done. Mm-hmm. That's my spirit. If I carry that spirit forward, that's how when the new Black Panther still I see Nation of Islam people who are with Farrakhan, they inboxing me all the time. Great book. A lot of things I didn't know. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They're in the Nation of Islam. They love Minister Farrakhan, but they know it ain't all perfect in there. It ain't perfect in no new Black Panther Party. Mm-hmm. If I see my brothers in the Nation of Islam right now and they see the Panther Party, assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam, brother. You know, we may not square on everything, but they know that this man here, Khalid Muhammad, there's something in this thing that every Black Muslim need to know. This is the real deal when it comes to that Black Muslim thing. Khalid Muhammad is a certain kind of standard. He's the 5th most popular partner. He's the 5th most influential Black Muslim ever. After Elijah, Minister Farrakhan, Malcolm, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Minister Malcolm X, Minister Louis Farrakhan, Muhammad Ali, Khalid Muhammad. Got a time to, you know what, to be honest, we can't keep no disrespect to nobody else. We spend years and years, it's all about the nation. We spend years and years, Farrakhan has the lead. It's time to take a pause and study Muhammad for me. How about that? How about we respect each other enough to say, okay, well, sometimes it may not all be about Louis Farrakhan. God might be saying for a minute, let's sit here and study Khalid. Khalid may be helping us get to the future. I think I'll leave with that. All right?
Okay, I'll rest my case. But you know what? I do want to publicly say that I admire you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I appreciate you. I consider you a friend. Whenever I ask for any financial support for anything any fundraisers I'm doing, you are the first one to respond. So you put your money where your mouth is, you know. So there's a lot of things about your character that I admire and I appreciate and I respect. And I want to say that publicly. Just because we have disagreements don't mean that I have to despise you and bash your name. We have disagreements, and it's just as simple as that. So, I just want to say that publicly, and I would hope that, more of us can get to that type of elevated place where we're not working on low energy and think we can, we have to call each other negative names and name call, and you take one side, I take the other, and now nothing is getting accomplished because we can't even sit at the table together and hash out our differences to move into a place where, a place where we are helping to do what we say we set out to do, the liberation of Black people.
Khalid Muhammad has a lot of followers, right? So they deserve closure too. They deserve therapy too. They deserve to hash through the issues of the life and the passing of their leader, and other people have to respect that therapeutic and clinical process. And see, people respect it and don't make it into what it's not, then you can get to a point later where there's mutual respect. We must have respect for the career, the life, the death, the pain of Khalid Muhammad. We have to study that.
We can do both.
And he was so much more than that conflict, you know, and that's kind of what I was trying to get at. He was so much more than that conflict, and I don't want that to overshadow the greatness of who he was. And so, right, that's why I was pushing, like, can we shift a little bit, because I'm like, get the book, don't skip to the chapter about the conflict. Now go through all the chapters.
Yeah.
Book of Khalid.com talks about one of the greatest preachers we've ever known. He's one of the greatest thinkers we ever known. He's one of the greatest field tacticians on the battlefield we ever known. He's one of the most proficient persons in speaking to all languages, cultures, and religions that we have ever known. And so I firmly say that you must have the biography of the greatest, one of the greatest Black men that has ever come in our midst, Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Everybody will grow from it. I say that to you. Now, thank you so much.
Well, I'm looking forward to reading it.
Brother Malik, thank you for coming on and being with us again. One thing I want to definitely thank you for on air is for humanizing Khalid and just talking about him being romantic. That warmed my heart, because oftentimes with our leaders, there's like a dehumanization that can happen oftentimes, because it's almost like we stop seeing them as people, and they become this whole big conflict. And I'm like, no, when you were talking, I was grinning, because I'm just like, oh, he was an actual man, people, you know? So I appreciate that.
You would have wanted to be hanging with us, okay? You would have wanted to walk on 125th Street and eat them chicken wings. I mean, you know, Khalid,
I appreciate that.
He wasn't real stuffy and stiff and pretentious, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Thank you so much for injecting that in the conversation, because just in that moment, I just got real warm, and I'm like, this is what I like to hear. Even with Louis Farrakhan, you know, we don't hear enough about like his humor. Like, he's human too. You know, it's almost like we found these people into robots.
They don't call him Louis the Charmer for no reason. Trust me, he is a charming person. Trust me. I mean, even Ray said on some meeting, said you go on a meeting with Farrakhan with one position, and by the time you get out the meeting, he'll have you singing his tune. So trust me, trust me, he didn't get to be as great as he is without having certain powers of charisma and all of that. And I've been blessed in my lifetime to probably have maybe 30 or more dinners with him. So I've kind of had some up close relations with him, and there's a lot of things I learned from him.
Well, we appreciate your presence, and we appreciate you, and thank you for your courage for writing the book. I know it took some time and emotional turmoil and, you know, emotional labor, because again, that was someone that you actually was close to. So thank you for that. We honor the divine in you for that. And thank you for coming on and gracing our show with your presence. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. Appreciate you all. And the Book of Khalid.com. Go there. I'm here for y'all at any time. Call on me for your needs. And Black Power. Thank you.
All right, Black Power. Peace, all right, everyone.
That is our program. Stay tuned for next week, because you're going to want to check us out next week too. We got a sharp brother coming on. Sharp brother. And you know, he's got a lot of information to give us about the Cubans, interferon, how that relates to us here as Black people on this landmass. Mm-hmm. Really powerful discussion next week as well. So stay tuned, like our page. If you're here for the first time, thanks for chiming in. Thank you all you guys who shared. Appreciate all the information on the stream. Let's love each other, family. Let's love each other. We can have these kind of discourses without tearing each other down. Please.
It's possible. That's very possible.
Yes.
As long as it's all done in love with the same goal in mind, which is the unification and liberation of our people, then we don't need to be trying to bite each other heads off. Alkema, I don't always agree with you. You don't always agree with me, and that's okay. That's okay. It doesn't mean that one is better than the other, or one is more wrong or more right than the other. It just, We don't see something the same, and we could still remain sisters. The sisterhood could still be maintained.
And we can still work together.
Absolutely.
And get the mission accomplished.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm glad that you put that out there in the ether. Thank you very much, Alkema. But until next time, you guys tune in next week, same time, Monday, 8 p.m., the Empower Hour. If you're not following our page, make sure you are, so that you can get the notification when we go live. Whenever we go live, it's usually Monday at 8 p.m. You'll get a notification. Not only that, you will also get the announcement of what the next show is supposed to be about. So if you're not following the Empower Hour page on Facebook, please do so, and encourage others to do so as well. And when we go live, please make sure you share the live. This live is recorded. It's going to be posted. If you want to go back and listen, or you just want to share it, please, by all means, do so. We appreciate you guys' support. Those of you guys that are faithful, faithful followers of the Empower Hour, thank you for tuning in. It's because of you we do this. So we appreciate you guys, and just keep the love coming, and we're going to keep the taboo topics coming for you.
All right.
Until next time, peace.